Welcome back to Mountain Connections. I'm excited to talk with Tony Child. He is founder and CEO of Elevated Worldwide about his thoughts on positive psychology and everything that Elevated Worldwide has to offer. Thanks, Tony, for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Excited to be here.
So how did you get involved in positive psychology as a career?
Yeah, so I was in banking for 15 years, and I was in corporate banking, and they would send me to a lot of leadership development courses. And one of the leadership development courses they sent me to was out of Harvard, based off a book called The Happiness Advantage by Sean Aker. And I remember I was in that workshop and I nudged my boss and I'm like, can I go? Because I always thought that I was a positive person. And she's like, no, you got to stay. And so I stayed over that workshop, and it changed my life. And so it was all about positive psychology, positivity. And I realized that the majority of people are either negative or neutral. And when you are positive, life completely changes. And so I was just intrigued. And so I changed everything. I changed my career. I changed my degrees in college. I changed everything to really dive into positive psychology.
So tell me about Elevated Worldwide. What made you decide to start this company and focus a lot on leadership and motivation and life coaching?
Yeah, so I actually started the company a few years ago while I was in the bank, just as a pass-through for all the expenses that I was putting into my own development. And I never really intended to build it as a business. And then I started to see the impact that it had on employees where I was coaching, I was training in the banking world. And I thought, I wonder if this works outside of the banking world. And so I started going to door-to-door sales companies and other companies and teaching them it. And it was changing everybody I was talking to. And I'm like, I think I can make a business out of this. So it was an easy transition into building the business now.
Do you think it's correct to say there's been an explosion of life coaching, focusing on personal development, on leadership, on goals? It's kind of a new trend. Do you think that's true?
Yes, I fully believe that that's true. And a lot of it is guided by the millennial generation. The millennial generation is very much a buck the trend generation. And they're the ones that are actually pushing this idea of there's so much more to us than we realize. And we really do need to get coached, and we need to find that potential that's deep within us and let it come out. And a lot of people just suppress it. And this millennial generation is helping us, all of us collectively, get into that frame of mind of we really do need to focus on our positivity.
And how do you describe therapy as opposed to life coaching?
Yeah, that's a great question. So this is the way I describe it, is therapy is really focused on solving your trauma in your past. And all of us have trauma, by the way. Some of it is very deep, some of it is not, but all of us have trauma. And so therapy is really based on helping somebody get through their past and their trauma. Coaching is all about the future. And it's all about where am I going? What am I wanting to accomplish? And using your mind, the conscious, subconscious, in order to help you get there.
When you talk about the future, one thing you like to talk about is prophesying victory. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So to give you a little bit of background, our body, our behaviors are all an instrument of the mind. We've either got the conscious mind or the subconscious mind. 93 to 97% of our life is subconscious. We don't think about it, we just do it. The other 3 to 7% is our conscious mind. And all schools, most schools, focus on just helping you with your conscious mind. That's where you just get knowledge, you get education. But 95% of our results really are coming from the subconscious mind. And so our words are what influence the subconscious. Our subconscious, it can't tell what's real and imagined. Have you ever, I'll just ask you a question. Have you ever thought of something in your head and you created it so real that it started to control your body, like you started to get really emotional, to later find out that what you were thinking about wasn't even true?
Oh yeah, I do that all the time.
So that is the power of our subconscious mind. It can't tell what's real and what's imagined. Whatever we feed it is what it's going to produce in our life. It's called self-fulfilling prophecy. And so prophesying victory are words that we're saying out of our mouth. How many people say, I don't think I can, or I'll never, or that's just not me, that's impossible, I'm not a good whatever it is. All of that is conditioning our future. And so prophesying victory is flipping that to I can, and I always, and I know I can do this, And that is totally me. And so it's this idea of flipping the words that we're sharing and prophesying what we want instead of prophesying defeat, which is what we don't want.
So when you talk about the subconscious, are you training the subconscious? Is that the goal in life coaching?
Yes.
Since that is controlling a lot more than our conscious, which is a little scary.
Yeah, so what I do is I say, okay, where do you want to go? What's your future outcome here? And what we want to do is we want to train the reticular activating system. That's a crazy word, but it's your filter. And it's constantly filtering out in your life what you're seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching, your 5 senses. And so what I want to do is I want to train that reticular activating system to see the goal that you want and to actually see it here and now. Have you ever been on the road and you're driving your car down the road, and all the cars that you see are either the cars that you want or the car that you drive? Mm-hmm. And then you get a new car and you stop seeing the old car that you drove and you start seeing the new car. That's your reticular activating system. You changed it. So what I want to do is help people change that so they can start achieving their goals.
It's fascinating. You also work with couples.
Yes. Yes, so we do. One of the downfalls of personal development, self-development, I've been here for over a decade now, is the divorce rate that happens. And the reason why is because couples, they're usually matched energetically when they're married and or when they were attracted to one another. And one decides, I'm going to start developing myself. And so they start developing themselves, getting really positive, and the other couple just stays where they are. And eventually there's a separation that happens. And so everything I do is to make sure that if I engage somebody, I say, look, do you have a relationship? Let's do this together. Let's grow together. Let's dream together. Let's communicate together. Let's value together to ultimately achieve together. And so those are 5 things that we teach couples on. Really, let's go on this journey together instead of one of us alone.
You know, they say opposites attract. So you say those 5 things are essential to having a strength as a couple, but sometimes you're so different that it doesn't exactly line up. Is that okay?
Yeah, for sure, that's okay. And you're going to have. So here's what I say about couples. When you say opposite attracts, I believe that opposites attract regarding personality. So, like, for example, I am very outgoing. My wife is very introverted. I am very kind of chaotic. My wife is very organized. So personality-wise, we are very opposites. Energetically, though, when we were married, we were very much the same. And so I believe that energy is actually where you are the same. It's personalities that can be different. And so energetically, that's what we're trying to change, is our energy, the way that we see the world, and that needs to happen as a couple.
You also mentioned dreams, that dreaming is a good thing, although sometimes it's presented as a bad thing. You don't want to just be a dreamy person all the time, but you promote dreams.
For sure. And it's fascinating. When we're kids, all we want to do is become an adult. And now that you're an adult, all I teach people is to go back to believing like you did as a child, to dreaming like you did as a child, to a lot of the different things as children that we kind of lost. So one of my acronyms, or one of my things that I share, not acronyms, but one of my sayings is redeem your dream. A lot of our dreams we had when we were little kids, and we allowed those dreams to die. And one of the things that I want to do with people is to help them identify what were some of those dreams that died when you were a little kid, and I want to help you redeem that or make alive again.
So at Elevated Worldwide, you're covering a lot of material, a lot of things. Where can we get more information about how to find out more about participating in some of your date nights and your classes and business help? Yeah,
so you can just visit our website, keepelevated.com. And on there, if you want, there's a contact us, and if you want to call us, anybody that's watching this segment, I will give them 50% off anything on our website. So any coaching, any programs that we do. So you need to call in, because I'm not going to just give you a thing over here. So go to the contact us, and we'd be happy to honor that for you.
Well, thanks so much, Tony. This has been a fascinating conversation. I've enjoyed it, and we appreciate you coming in studio.
Thank you.
All right, a lot to think about with positive psychology. Follow your dreams, connect as a couple. All the things are on Elevated Worldwide. Check out their website, and 50% off. That's a killer deal. So go online and learn more about that. All right, we have more here on Health and Wellness Thursday right after this quick break.